الموضوع ده له سبب
هذول الشغل ده
قبل
ما في عربي.
البيت.
التسجيل
بعد
شغال.
ما problem.
دقيقة بالراحة بالهداوة كده، الناس ما تشتبك. واحدة بدينا تسجيل، اختار لكم طبق تعيشوا والناس يتونس. طيب بعد كده خلاص، بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. So today we're gonna start our English conversations inshallah. Can I test it with Abdullah and Yusuf? And Siddiq will be there for help inshallah. Siddiq, what do you suggest to be discussed?
Well, I'm trying to think about a topic that they both have a little more vocabulary in, so they can use the words they know. I couldn't come up with a topic, but let's talk about productivity. Like, you guys have something to learn. You have a lot of obstacles during the day, like work, home, many of the stuff that can distract you from work, or at least from studying. And you want to increase your productivity, let's say, by 10%. So what are you going to think about in terms of productivity? You can easily talk about your day and how you're going to enhance something that can bring you more productivity by, let's say, 10-15%. And yeah, just talk about it.
So is it clear for you, Abdullah, Yusuf?
Yes.
Yes, we're gonna start with Abdullah, Yusuf. Abdullah, go ahead.
Okay, actually, it's a very interesting topic, productivity, and I think, I could reschedule my things, and I probably will be able to increase my productivity to 10 or maybe 15%. Okay, if I would say how my day looks like or what I'm doing every single day when I wake up, probably I wake up at 4-5 a.m. and I start by having a walk, and then I will get back.
Abdullah, just 1 minute. Sorry to interrupt. So I think it's going to be a boring conversation. Abdullah, and Yusuf, again, I'm gonna be with the discussion. Abdullah,
Well,
Yusuf,
let's make it a technical discussion. I think it's gonna be even better.
Sorry, Siddiq, we're gonna change the topic to a technical one. So let's say that we're gonna have a debate about REST APIs versus GraphQL. Sorry, Siddiq.
No, that's totally fine.
So
Let's bring some tech.
Perspective about REST versus GraphQL.
What's that? Come again?
REST APIs and GraphQL APIs.
Well, it's not used often. So let's talk about the databases. Let's talk about how a good database architecture can bring up life to your project.
Agree, Abdullah, Yusuf?
Sure, but okay.
So we'll start with Yusuf this time.
Now we're gonna start again with Abdullah. Abdullah, so main topic that we're gonna discuss is about database and good practices about database design. Go ahead.
Okay, let me just have some thoughts, or let me think about it.
Maybe I can say I'm not very familiar with this topic, so maybe I can ask Abdullah some questions.
Yeah, no problem. I will win by default, so no problem. Let's just do it.
Okay, no worries. Yusuf, ask Abdullah what you have in your mind.
Okay. What makes a good database architecture?
Okay. Actually, there is.
That's a good question. Before you answer, let me just bring up something here. Before you answer, you have to think about the main perspectives about, like, let's say there is a project has a very great database designed, and there's another one on the other side. The database structure is very poor. Relations are very poor designed. So what are the perspectives that either the developer and the business will struggle in terms of dealing with this database? Let's start with the business. Reporting and reading data, making decisions.
Okay, I will talk on two primary topics. Just 1 minute. I will discuss 2 points. The first one is if you have a poor design database and you want to have some reports, especially if you read a lot from the database, the main problem that you are gonna face in such poor database design is you won't have like a good indexing, and if the relationships aren't that good, or you have so many let's say joins, so this is gonna lead up to your queries are gonna be very, very slow. So it will affect the performance, and the performance will be very bad. So this, if we said you have a very poor design database. The other problem that you are probably will face if you want to scale. So also, if you want to scale and you are not designing your database the best way, or let's say at least in a very good shape, so you'll probably have some obstacles if you want to scale the application. If you want maybe to add a new table, there is a chance that you might bring down all your database because you can't scale it maybe, and it's a serious problem. So those are the 2 things I will address from a business perspective.
Well, saying scaling, what do you mean about scaling? Like scaling from a like horizontal scaling and these things?
No, when I mentioned scaling, I meant, let's say, let's take an example. It would be better. Let's say I have a database, and that database have like, let's say 10 tables, whatever they are, and I want to add a new feature, and this new feature, when I did the analysis, I came up with that maybe I need like more 5 tables or something like that, and those tables have to get some relationships and interact with the existing tables. So if the existing tables, their relationships and their design isn't that good, so I'm gonna face some problem on scaling or adding those new tables. I could even restructure or recreate the database from scratch, or maybe, so it's gonna be painful if I already am on production level and I have a lot of data. So it will take me so many times to redesign it. So that is when I mentioned scaling, I meant this point.
Okay, let's go to Yusuf.
Can I ask Abdullah some questions?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So let's say we have a database that is very slow. What can we do, or how do we first assess the situation? What do we start with to improve the performance of the database?
Well, I would say the first thing that comes to your mind, and probably to every developer mind, is caching. You just need to use caching. if you use caching and you still have some problems, maybe you could go and see do you have the right queries? Do you have the right indexes, and your indexes are great or no? Or what can you do about it? So if you did both of those and you still need, or you still have some problems with performance or whatever it is, you could think about scaling the database itself. Maybe having a database for reading, a database for writing, and there is so many techniques, like you could sharding the database, or you could there is another technique. I'm thinking about it. I can't get my head around it, but yeah, once I remember it, I will tell you. But yeah, you have those three like options that you could go with. The first one is to use caching. If it solves the problem, okay, your problem is solved, so there is nothing to discuss. And if not, you could go further and maybe see if you have indexing, proper indexing or not. And the last thing, maybe you will scrape the database, or you will scale the database, whether it was horizontal or was vertical. It depends on your need, and depends on the problem on hand.
Okay, that's very clear. I think the technique you tried to mention is database replication. So let's say, another question. Let's say we have a database that we're using a multi-tenant architecture. How can you do that on the database level?
Okay, very good question actually. So if you have a multi-tenant application, so you still have some choices. You still have a choice that you will have one centralized database, and all tenants read from this database. But if the business or the business itself needs that every database or every tenant, a tenant probably it's a company. So if every company they need their own database in their own server, so you could have one backend application that supports multiple tenants, and each tenant reads from its own database. So you could go with either options. It depends on the needs. It depends on the scale, or the thinking about this word. It depends on how much of the reading and writing you are going to end up with.
Okay, so we have two options. Either each tenant have their own database, or they all read from the same database, right?
Yeah. And you have also a very excellent solution as well. I remember Musab mentioned it the other day, that you could use replication. So replication means the same database, but each tenant will read from its own replicate that. So it would be a fantastic solution as well.
How would you do that? I'm not understanding.
Okay, I'm also not familiar with the technical details about this topic, but the thing is, you will have one database structure, and from this structure, you just replicate it. You just make copies for the same amount of your tenants. So if you have 5 tenants, they will have one database, but it's replicated. I don't know the technical details or how you are going to interact with it, because I've never done it before, but that is how you will fix, or maybe you will use these techniques to deal with the tenant application, multi-tenant application.
Okay. Yeah, so because it would be interesting to see how you would say.
Yeah, maybe Musab can jump in and explain if he know, or give us maybe more info about this topic.
Regarding what point exactly?
We are talking about, let's say you have a multi-tenant application, and you said I will use one database, but the techniques that you mentioned the other day, that you could have the same database, but you will use replication maybe or something like that. So each tenant will have its own database, but it's one database, but it's replicated to so many databases.
You are referring to what exactly, to what scenario exactly? That you are using one database or are you using multiple databases?
No, you are only using one.
Okay, I think Yusuf, you have checked it, and Yusuf have watched a video for Hussein Nassar, I guess, and he was advising to use multiple databases. But regarding your main point, if you want to do it in one single database, you can do it as partitioning table, yeah, Yusuf. You're gonna have a table that and sub-partitions or sub-tables for it. But when you are creating your partitions, you're gonna create it with the tenant name. So let's assume you have a user table, and you wanna have a user table as a partition for a company called X. So you're gonna create a partition that is called partition users underscore, let's say, X, or for X company. When you are fetching your data, you are dealing with that partition only. So it's a kind of a separation on one database level. So basically that's what the main idea behind it.
Yes. But Abdullah mentioned a different technique that this is the first time I'm hearing about, which is you have one database, but each tenant also has their own database at the same time. That's not, yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, the common scenario is that you're gonna separate each database. But I have been I've watched one video that for someone, I don't remember who exactly, but he was mentioning that either to not manage all the databases with their TRs and backups and all of this overhead, you can just use a single database with a partitioning, and that's it, which is could be true for some scenarios, but again, in technology, it's all about the trade-offs. You're gonna solve an issue, another one will raise for you. But if you have a small scale, and let's assume that you are trying to make an MVP, it's going to be a good choice for you at the beginning, but within time, it's better to separate it as different databases. But at least it's going to make a lesser overhead on you.
Yeah, because Hussein Nassar mentioned it would be, there is a security trade-off here, because if you're managing the same database, you have to make sure that the data doesn't get conflicted with each other or overflow each other. So this is a big concern when you use one database. But also if you have separate databases, there's also a different trade-offs. So it depends on, like I always said, depends.
Yes, for sure. I think this is going to be good enough for now. I'm going to change the subject to Arabic. لا عبد الله وريتنا بل ما في كلام يا زلمة. This is gonna be in English. خلاص good for you. I've shared 2 postcards with you, Abdullah, in WhatsApp. They're gonna elevate and level up your communication and soft skills. I think you are good enough.
Yeah, thank you. Also, it's a diary of CEO.
Yeah, but لا, do not mention it on the record. This is gonna be an off-record discussion.
Okay.
Check them. You are doing good, yeah, mashallah. So it's gonna level up your soft skills. It's gonna open your eyes for your pitfalls or anything else that you can focus on it and elevate it more. But a good conversation. Thanks يا صديق يوسف and Abdullah. جيجيز يا من زي ما بقول صديق.
Oh man, absolutely welcome.
Thank you.
My advice for both of you guys, before saying GG's, my advice for both of you guys is to, because you are in Sudan, I assume, So it's not the best environment to improve your
لا they are not in Sudan, they are
pronunciation.
أولاد المصارين البيض.
Oh, okay. Good deal. So just
Sons
open a YouTube channel.
of white, stomach stuff.
Nice translation. Just open a YouTube channel or a TikTok and try to make it like a personal vlogs, and you will see your improvements like by time. So just put a content out there in English for sure, not Arabic. But finally, GG's.
Thank you guys.
So did we do good?
Yeah, to some extent. It's not that good, but yeah, I mean, unless you can survive.
Okay, as long as we can survive.
No, for real, you know that صديقين American, for real, yeah, man. لا, for real, both of you have done great work, يعني. We're happy to have both talent like you with us, يعني, alhamdulillah. I'm going to stop the record. You can continue on the record.
Okay.